Many women underestimate how often subtle conversational cues signal genuine romantic interest. A man rarely walks up and announces attraction directly, especially in the early stages. Instead, he tests the waters with something that feels natural and socially acceptable. He might ask what brings you to an event, how you know the host, whether you come there often, or what you enjoy doing in your free time. On the surface, it sounds like ordinary small talk, but underneath it is an emotional temperature check. He's not simply gathering facts, he is assessing your openness, your tone, your willingness to engage. He is watching for warmth in your response, for curiosity in your eyes, for any sign that continuing the conversation would be welcomed rather than tolerated. When this subtle cue is missed, the moment quietly dissolves. The interaction remains polite but never progresses. What could have evolved into connection ends as forgettable conversation. The key is not to overanalyze every exchange, but to recognize patterns. When questions feel intentional, when someone lingers in the dialogue, when there is attentive listening rather than distracted nodding, that is rarely accidental. Awareness shifts everything. Instead of dismissing these moments as random, you begin to see them as invitations. And once you see them clearly, you regain choice. You can respond with warmth if you are interested, or you can gracefully keep it neutral if you are not. But you are no longer unaware. You are participating consciously in the dynamic rather than reacting passively. That awareness alone transforms how you experience dating and connection, because you stop assuming interest must look dramatic to be real. Often, it is quiet, cautious, and hidden in the simplest question. Men often test emotional warmth and openness before they ever reveal clear attraction. They do not begin with bold statements or dramatic compliments. They begin with something measured, a light question, a casual observation, a small moment designed to see how safe it feels to continue. When a man asks you something simple, he is often not just interested in your answer. He is studying the energy behind it. Does your voice soften or harden? Do you maintain eye contact or glance away quickly? Do you offer more than a one-word response? These details matter more than most people realize. Attraction grows in emotional safety. If he senses receptiveness, he leans in. If he senses distance, he retreats. Many women believe that if a man is truly interested, he will make it obvious no matter what. But in reality, most men move forward in small steps. They look for signs that their effort will not be rejected or embarrassed. That is why emotional warmth is powerful. It does not mean over-investing or forcing enthusiasm. It means being present. It means allowing your personality to show rather than staying guarded. When you respond with genuine curiosity, when you ask a thoughtful question in return, you create space for him to feel encouraged. That encouragement is often the difference between a conversation that ends politely and one that deepens naturally. Emotional openness is not about being naive. It is about being aware of how your energy shapes interaction. When you understand that many men are quietly testing for safety before expressing desire, you begin to see early conversations differently. You realize that attraction often unfolds gradually. It is built through micro moments of reassurance. A smile held a second longer, a follow-up question, a relaxed posture. These signals tell him that continuing is welcome. Without them, even strong interest can fade before it ever becomes visible. The shift is subtle but powerful. When you become conscious of emotional warmth as a signal, you move from confusion to clarity. You no longer wonder why some interactions never develop. You recognize that connection is not just about chemistry. It is about whether both people feel invited to step forward. The most common question a man uses to signal interest is so simple that it is almost invisible. It does not sound flirtatious. It does not carry obvious charm. It sounds ordinary. He might ask what you enjoy doing outside of work, what brought you to this place, or how you usually spend your weekends. On the surface, it feels like polite conversation, but underneath, it serves a deeper purpose. He is searching for compatibility. He is trying to discover whether your world and his world could overlap. This kind of question is intentional because it creates space. It invites you to share something personal without feeling exposed. It allows him to measure how engaged you are in the exchange. If you answer briefly and move on, the door quietly closes. If you expand, smile, and return the curiosity, the door opens wider. What makes this question powerful is not the words themselves, but the opportunity hidden inside them. It gives both people a chance to move beyond surface-level interaction. Many women overlook it because they are waiting for something more dramatic. They expect a bold compliment or an obvious declaration of attraction, but genuine connection often begins in subtlety. When you recognize that this simple question may carry interest, you gain awareness. Instead of responding automatically, you respond intentionally. You can share a detail that reflects who you truly are. You can ask him what he enjoys and notice the enthusiasm in his answer. In that moment, the conversation shifts from routine to meaningful. Attraction grows through shared insight and mutual engagement. The question may sound small, but it opens the door to depth. And when you understand its purpose, you stop missing opportunities that once seemed ordinary. Confidence and receptivity shape whether a simple interaction grows into something meaningful or fades into the background. When a man asks a gentle, open-ended question, he is not only expressing curiosity, he is also measuring the emotional climate. Confidence in this moment does not mean dominating the exchange or trying to impress. It means being comfortable enough with yourself to stay present. When you respond with clarity, when your body language is relaxed, when your tone carries warmth rather than hesitation, you communicate something powerful without saying it directly. You signal that you are at ease. That ease creates momentum. Many conversations stall not because attraction is absent, but because uncertainty fills the space. If your answers are guarded or distracted, he may interpret that as disinterest, even if you simply needed a moment to feel comfortable. Confidence removes that ambiguity. It allows the interaction to breathe. Receptivity is equally important. It is the subtle art of leaving the door slightly open. When you listen attentively, ask a thoughtful follow-up, or allow a small smile to linger, you create encouragement. Encouragement does not guarantee chemistry, but it gives connection a chance. Without receptivity, even strong interest can retreat. People naturally move toward environments where they feel welcomed and away from environments where they feel uncertain. This is not about performing or forcing enthusiasm. It is about awareness. If you are interested, show it in small, authentic ways. If you are not, you can remain kind without sending mixed signals. The power lies in intentional response. When confidence and receptivity align, the dynamic shifts. Conversations become fluid rather than strained. Attraction develops naturally rather than feeling forced. And you begin to notice that the difference between a missed opportunity and a meaningful connection often rests in how you carry yourself during those first subtle exchanges. Tone, eye contact, and follow-up questions often reveal more about intention than the original words ever could. When a man is genuinely interested, his tone usually shifts in subtle ways. It becomes more attentive, slightly softer, more engaged. He may lean in just a little, hold eye contact a second longer than necessary, or respond quickly when you speak. These are not dramatic gestures, yet they signal focus. He is not casually passing time. He is investing attention. Attention is one of the clearest indicators of attraction. Many women focus only on what is being said, analyzing the literal meaning of a sentence while overlooking how it is delivered. But delivery carries emotion. A simple question spoken with steady eye contact and genuine curiosity carries very different energy than the same question spoken while scanning the room. Awareness of these cues helps you distinguish politeness from personal interest. Follow-up questions are especially powerful indicators. When someone remembers a detail you mentioned and asks about it again, that is not random. It shows engagement and desire to deepen the conversation. Interest moves forward. It does not stay on the surface. If he asks what you enjoy doing and then builds on your answer, exploring your hobbies, your experiences, or your opinions, he is trying to extend the connection. This is where many interactions either grow or fade. If you reciprocate with thoughtful questions, the exchange gains rhythm. If you respond minimally, the momentum weakens. Attraction thrives in that back and forth flow. Recognizing tone, eye contact, and intentional follow-up questions allows you to see what is truly happening beneath the surface. You stop guessing and start observing, and once you observe clearly, you can choose how to respond with confidence rather than confusion. Emotional availability matters far more than appearance in the early stages of connection. While physical presentation may catch someone's attention, it is emotional openness that determines whether a conversation moves forward. When a man asks a simple question to start an interaction, he is not evaluating perfection, he is sensing presence. Are you mentally there with him, or are you distant and distracted? Emotional availability shows up in subtle but powerful ways. It is in the way you listen without rushing. It is in how you respond with sincerity rather than automatic politeness. It is in your willingness to share a small piece of your perspective instead of staying entirely neutral. Many women believe they must look a certain way to inspire approach, yet what truly sustains interest is how someone feels in your presence. If he feels acknowledged, respected, and welcomed into the exchange, the interaction gains depth. Being emotionally available does not mean revealing everything about yourself. It means allowing genuine expression. Guarded responses often create invisible walls. A short, closed answer may protect you from vulnerability, but it can also signal disinterest. When you allow warmth into your voice and curiosity into your questions, you communicate that you are open to engagement. That openness is magnetic because it creates safety. Most people move towards spaces where they feel understood and valued. If you are interested, showing emotional availability gives the conversation room to breathe. If you are not interested, you can remain kind while maintaining boundaries. The key is awareness of your internal state. When you are fully present, you naturally give off signals that encourage authentic interaction. Attraction grows not from flawless appearance, but from shared energy and emotional connection. Understanding this shifts your focus from trying to impress to simply being engaged. And in that engagement, real connection becomes possible. Recognizing interest allows you to respond with clarity instead of confusion. When you understand that certain questions, gestures, and tones are not random but intentional, you stop second-guessing every interaction. Many women walk away from conversations unsure of what just happened. They replay the words, wondering whether he was simply being polite or subtly expressing attraction. This uncertainty creates hesitation. But when you learn to identify the signs such as sustained eye contact, engaged follow-up questions, and a noticeable effort to keep the conversation going, you gain confidence in your interpretation. Awareness replaces doubt. Instead of feeling caught off guard, you feel prepared. You realize that attraction often reveals itself quietly. It does not always arrive with bold declarations. It often appears through consistent attention and thoughtful curiosity. Once you see this clearly, you are no longer reacting blindly. You are choosing consciously how to participate in the dynamic. Clarity changes your response. If you are interested, you can lean into the moment with warmth and intention. You can offer more than surface-level replies. You can ask a meaningful question in return and allow the exchange to deepen naturally. If you are not interested, clarity empowers you to remain kind without unintentionally encouraging further pursuit. You do not have to overcompensate or withdraw abruptly. You simply respond in alignment with how you truly feel. This balanced awareness protects your energy while honoring the other person's effort. The real power lies in choice. When you recognize interest accurately, you stop feeling confused about mixed signals. You stop missing opportunities that once seemed ordinary. Dating becomes less about guessing and more about observing. And when you operate from observation and intention, you move through interactions with greater ease, knowing that you understand the unspoken language unfolding in front of you. Small shifts in awareness can completely transform your dating experience at any stage of life. Most people believe dramatic change requires bold action, but often it begins with subtle perception. When you start recognizing that simple questions may carry hidden intention, you stop overlooking meaningful moments. You begin to notice patterns, the way someone positions themselves closer to you, the way they extend a conversation instead of letting it fade, the way their attention remains steady even when distractions are present. These signals were always there. The difference now is that you see them. Awareness sharpens your intuition. Instead of dismissing interactions as random, you understand that attraction frequently moves quietly and cautiously. This shift does not require you to behave differently at first. It simply asks you to observe more carefully. An observation creates confidence because you are no longer navigating blindly. When awareness grows, your responses naturally become more intentional. If you are interested, you allow your curiosity to show. You engage with presence rather than habit. You give conversations the space to unfold instead of closing them prematurely. If you sense misalignment, you gracefully maintain boundaries without confusion or mixed signals. These small adjustments change outcomes. Interactions feel less frustrating and more empowering. You begin to experience connection as a shared exchange rather than a mystery you must decode afterward. The beauty of this shift is that it does not depend on age, appearance, or circumstance. It depends on consciousness. When you refine your awareness, you refine your experience. Dating stops feeling like a guessing game and starts feeling like a dialogue where you understand the language being spoken, and sometimes that subtle understanding is all it takes to turn an ordinary moment into the beginning of something meaningful. Attraction often builds through micro moments rather than grand gestures, and understanding this changes how you interpret early interactions. Many women expect interest to be obvious, bold, and unmistakable. They look for dramatic compliments or direct statements of intent. But in reality, connection usually grows in smaller increments. A man may extend a conversation by asking one more thoughtful question. He may reference something you said earlier to show he was listening. He may subtly mirror your energy or humor to create alignment. These actions seem minor in isolation, yet together they form a pattern. The mistake is evaluating each moment separately instead of recognizing the consistent effort underneath. When you begin to notice these micro moments, you realize that attraction is often cautious and layered. It unfolds through repetition and steady engagement rather than spectacle. Seeing these patterns gives you control over the direction of the interaction. Instead of waiting for undeniable proof, you can evaluate the consistency of his attention. Does he maintain focus when you speak? Does he build on your answers rather than changing the subject? Does he find small ways to keep the exchange alive? These signals matter more than dramatic words. When you respond with equal engagement, the rhythm strengthens. When you overlook them, the opportunity may quietly disappear. Attraction thrives in shared participation. It grows when both people nurture the small moments instead of dismissing them. By understanding that connection is built step by step, you shift your expectations from spectacle to substance, and in that shift, you become more attuned, more confident, and far less likely to miss the quiet signals that were always meant to be seen. The difference between being overlooked and being pursued often comes down to awareness of subtle cues. Many women assume that if a man is interested, it will be obvious. Grand gestures, bold statements, or dramatic displays. But genuine interest often begins quietly, almost imperceptibly. A simple question, a slightly extended conversation, a focused gaze. These are the invitations that go unnoticed more often than not. When you recognize that these small actions carry meaning, you shift from passive observer to active participant. You gain the ability to respond intentionally rather than react automatically. This awareness does not force chemistry where it does not exist, nor does it create false signals. It simply clarifies the landscape. Suddenly, interactions that once felt confusing become understandable. You see the effort, the curiosity, and the patience that indicate interest before words even make it explicit. Awareness allows you to choose your response with clarity and authenticity. If you are interested, you can lean in, contribute thoughtfully, and ask questions that create rhythm and connection. If you are not interested, you can maintain kindness without encouraging further pursuit, respecting both your boundaries and the other person.